Welcome to the Venus Lounge. I'm your host, Renee Moncada McElroy. I am a storyteller, a visionary. I'm a poet, a mom, a wife. And this is my story. This is my platform. I usually get behind people and their stories and highlight their journeys. But this time around, I decided to put time into me and to my vision. And this is what came out, the Venus Lounge. Before we get started, I really would love for you guys to do me a huge favor and go ahead and follow me, like or share. It really helps with me when I see that you are supporting the show and you're engaging, and I get to see what needs to be changed and how we need to move forward. So go ahead and follow me at, if you would, please, at the Venus Lounge. It's the Venus Lounge on YouTube, and it's the Venus Lounge on Instagram. And we are also now on KPFA Radio, so you can follow us at 94.1 KPFA on Facebook and KPFA Radio on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitch, YouTube, Instagram. Is there one more? And what was the other one? What? Instagram. I already said Instagram. Anyway, thank you for joining us. I'm so happy y'all are here, and I'm so happy that my dear friend and longtime mentor, coach, transformational coach, spiritual advisor, hypnotherapist, and visual artist, Wanda Whitaker. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. Glad to be here with you. It seems like home.
It is
sitting
home.
Here with you.
It is no place like home. Look at you. So tell me, what is a transformational coach and a spiritual advisor?
Well, a transformational coach is one who leads another through, I'm going to say, troubled waters to a place where they can reach their greatest potential, depending on what they're wanting out of life. Mm-hmm. And I do this by way of spirituality, in that I introduce spirituality along with that transformational process. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So,
mm-hmm. And so in that transformational process, and people come to you, what is, I guess, the single most question that people have when they come to you for spiritual guidance?
A lot of times they come because they reach a critical point in their life where something has happened to them that they have to make a transformation. Mm-hmm. And it's usually a big transformation. Mm-hmm. We all go through changes in life because change is constant, right? Mm-hmm. But transformation generally takes place, I'll say you have three major transformations in your life where you have to make a decision, a big decision.
Yeah, when you backed up against the wall, you ain't got nowhere else to go.
It's like a choice point decision to do something else in your life.
But it's not like, I'm ready to make a decision.
No.
It's always when your back is against the wall, you have nothing, because ain't nobody gonna raise their hand for it.
But what happens when you do that, the first thing some people say is, why me? Oh God. Why me?
Because it does feel like that. Because you look out and be like, everything else is going well for everybody else, but for me, shit sucks. I mean, the stuff sucks. Sorry, you don't have to believe that.
But that's also an opportunity for you to look within. You reach that point of awakening, and that's why it's so important to look at it from a different perspective. Mm-hmm. Most people look at it as though, oh my God, something bad is happening to me, rather than looking at it as an opportunity to grow and evolve, and to who they're wanting to become.
Who we're wanting to become ultimately answers the question of, who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose? And I remember I've come to you and said, called you when things were crazy, and you always pick up the phone, so thank you for that. You do. And you always say, this is a gift, Renee.
Right.
It's a gift. These are gifts God is giving to you, because it's allowing you to grow, and it's answering the questions to your higher calling.
Well, if you're experiencing some type of hurt or pain, that is a gift. That is a signal that it's a gift. And it's a gift because you're experiencing the contrast so you can make change in your life.
And you say contrast as an interchangeable word for
For bad things that happen to me.
Bad things that happen, bad people, bad situations, experiences.
Yeah, negative situations, negative experiences. Some that you feel that you can't get through, or how am I going to get through this? You can call it troubled waters. But those are all opportunities for you to change your perception of how you're looking at it. And it's an opportunity for you to look within. Those questions: who am I? Why am I here? And where did I come from? When you start answering those questions, then things become more apparent to you, and you're able to deal with, I'll say, life's ups and downs, because life is like this. I don't know anybody's life that's like that.
It's like this.
Right. You know, everybody's life. I don't care how much money you have. You know why? Because we're on Earth, and Earth is at the frequency of polarities and dualities. And that's why we're here, because in our home, our so-called home, where our soul is, comes from, our spirit, the energy there is quite different from here.
We talk metaphysics all the time. Lifelong students and studies of metaphysics. But for people who aren't into that, quote unquote, what are polarities? What are frequencies?
Okay, so why don't we start
with the 7 laws of the universe?
No. We start with our bodies. Okay. You can start with, what are we made of?
Cells, neurons, electrons, skin, bones.
And so if you look under a microscope, you see cells, and underneath the cells, you see what? Molecules. And then under molecules, what?
Neutrons, protons, energy.
Right, energy.
And it's always moving,
and they're polarities. They're attracting. It's electromagnetic. So even there, the frequency is always there. So the frequency is the wavelength.
So if I take a rock and I hit it through the water, and the ripples that the rock makes is the frequency?
It can be the frequency, because it's the way it travels, right? And how many seconds or how many times does it travel through the trough?
So what determines the frequency?
I tell you what, if I were to say, if I'm not going to look at myself, because I want to be realistic about this, and I know my frequency is low. The reason why I know it's low is because of the way I'm feeling. So emotions have a lot to do with it. Okay. They're lower frequency or lower vibrations with words, right? Every word has a vibration. Every thought has a vibration. And the higher the vibration is, it goes by the laws of the universe, the law of vibration and the law of attraction, which means that you're going to bring to you
what you're putting out.
Right. What you're putting out at the same resonance. So a lot of people say, I can't. Well, guess what? You're going to attract.
You are. You're
going to attract situations that show you that you can.
That's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow, because sometimes there's a flippity flop, because you could say with words that you feel a certain way, or that you are responding with words, but underneath your signals are saying something different. And so you think, oh, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm going through the world, like what? I'm positive. What are you talking about? But then
you're a lie.
Because what? You're attracting what
because it really is based on feeling. You know, some people say that they can think positive, and they write these positive affirmations down, but a lot has to do with feeling. How you feel when you're writing them. So it's the feeling, it's emotion, right?
Energy,
in motion.
Energy, emotion. Right. So what do you think about, just really quick, people who say women are emotional? When I hear that, I'm like, everybody's emotional. Everyone has a emotion, correct?
Everybody is emotional, and we both have male and female energy, and we have to balance that out.
You are my sister. Do you feel like it's out of balance?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just think about it. When you have a daughter, and you have three, right? God, Yeah, 3. Wow. Anyway, I remember
a lot
when
of
you had
emotion,
1.
lots of energy.
Yeah, there is a lot of energy. But what's the first thing you do? You tell people,
Stay out my edge control. Just kidding. Go ahead, carry on.
But when you have a baby shower and it's a girl, what do? They pink. It's got to be pink or yellow, right? And you got to get them a doll. And so it's very strong in the very beginning. You know, like a boy can't wear pink. Why not?
Why not?
What's wrong with that?
What is wrong with that?
Or a boy can't play with dolls. What's wrong with that? So that's why I said that it needs to be balanced, because what we do is we go all the way to the extreme, right? When we could just put it in the middle.
Okay, so are we talking about gender or are we talking about sexuality?
We're not talking about either gender or sexuality. We're just talking about energy.
Okay. I like that. So do certain genders express different energies, or are you saying that we could teeter between the two at any point in time?
We can, and it's based on powerful emotion in the universe. And once we understand how to have unconditional love, and that's without judgment, without judging people, whether they're male, female, I don't know, whatever their sexuality is, whatever they want to be, because somebody wanted to be a cat, and it's okay. I mean, they say,
yeah, you know what? I'm about to feed you a bowl and leave you on the floor wagging your tail. That's a little bit extreme for me, but okay. I'm not gonna make anyone feel bad about it, but because I love myself, you ain't gonna confuse me. But I'm just playing. So can I ask you something?
Sure.
Go ahead. I want you to finish.
No. Go ahead.
Okay. So, what is your definition of love? In a practical sense, Trey, and also in the application.
I would say love is an emotion, and it's a high feeling of joy. It's a feeling of gratitude, and it's a feeling that everyone possesses. Everyone possesses love. You know, and that feeling can change a situation. It can neutralize a lot of lower vibrational energy too. Because if you notice, when a person enters a room and they're full of love, you know, you can feel it. You say, "Oh, that person has some good energy."
So that's
why are you
love,
saying that?
Basically,
yeah, that's love.
It's a high vibrational frequency. Someone asked me what is love, and we got into this deep conversation about it. Because first we started at the tier of relationships, you know, in the romantic sense of what it was, and then we started getting deeper into the physics of it, and it being. And I went to sleep on it. And I was like, that is such a great question, because we talk about, I love you and love heals the world. And without love, there's this. But do we understand what it really means when we're communicating that and when we're in it and not in it? And I, when I woke up, when I went to sleep on it, I was like, okay, for my experience of it, I feel like it's a powerful force and a vessel that binds us together as human beings. Boom. Good night, everybody. It's the Venus Lounge. Anyway, that was my definition.
And that's who we are. And you're absolutely right. It does bind us. It does bind us together. Absolutely. It's like this force in the universe. What's the force that's holding up the planets?
Okay. What is it? I want to, let's get deep on this. So it's not just an idea or a word or a relationship. It's actually the harmony or the resonance.
It's the resonance of the Creator, who created us all. And that's who we are. We are simply love, embodying a so-called physical body. But a lot of times we forget who we are.
How do we forget?
Because when we come in as babies and the soul enters the body, it's automatic that we forget. We're supposed to forget, because if we don't forget, we don't learn. Because where we come from, which is our home is very different from Earth, right? The frequency is much higher. There's not a lot of contrast. If all you knew was love, right? How would you know you have love if you don't experience hate?
So it's
you
the
have to
opposite
experience the opposite. That's why.
So that's one of the laws.
This is a hard planet to come to.
It is. It's ghetto as hell. Y'all out here just roguing it. Like, shoot. This is the Venus Lounge. I'm your host, Renee Moncada McElroy. My special guest is Wanda Whitaker, transformational coach, spiritual advisor, hypnotherapist, and visual artist. You can follow us on YouTube at It's the Venus Lounge and on Instagram at It's the Venus Lounge Podcast. And then also on KPFA 94.1 on Facebook, KPFA Radio on Twitter, Twitch TV, YouTube, and Instagram. And we're talking about the vibrational frequency of love and our sole purpose here when we come onto the earth, and how to find that purpose. And when we're experiencing, I guess, what you call contrast or opposition, that those things are presented in our lives to call us.
And you'll keep attracting the same energy.
Same thing over and over again.
You know, people in so-called bad relationships, right? They move out, they get out of one relationship, they go into another. It's the same energy.
That's so true. I've seen people do
the
that.
next person has the same energy.
Same energy. Actually, sometimes they look the same and everything, move the same, dress the same. I'm like, you just traded one MF for another one, because this look just the same as the last one. So I guess we're not. But even, is there a lesson even within that?
Oh, they're all lessons. Right.
Okay.
Because the lesson is, you know what? If you keep doing the same thing with the same energy, you're going to get the same energy. So you have to do something different with that energy in order to change it. First of all, you got to know you created it.
See, sometimes you say this to me and I'm not wanting to hear, because I'll call you and you'd be like, Renee, you have to know that this is what you all created. And I'll just be like, no, I didn't.
You did, from the decisions that you made.
The choices.
You chose that person to be in your life. You chose the time that you met the person. You chose the friend who may have introduced you to. This is all.
But what if someone is not aware of that? Are they still accountable for not having awareness about the choices that they're making, or even sometimes the circumstances or the lineage that you come through, or family patterns that you're not even aware of? Why does that have to be? Why does that have to, like, can somebody save someone who's not aware of these things? Because what if you're not aware of it? What if you don't even subscribe to that ideology about?
Well, the whole thing is, you want to become awakened to that fact, and
awareness,
and you want to, once you become aware, once you start asking yourself those questions: who am I? Where did I come from? Why am I here? Guess what happens? The universe will start answering those questions for you.
So you gotta ask.
Gotta ask first, and until you get to that point, good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck. Good luck with growing, because generally you stay the same, and you don't grow unless you get out of your comfort zone. If you're comfortable, you're not going anywhere. Right?
I definitely don't get too comfortable. I'm always shifting and shaping and redoing.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay, so can I tell you how my week was?
Sure.
Because I'm living and learning out here in these streets. Okay, so the theme for me this week that I noticed, that I became aware of, was there were things that had been happening this week, and I, like, in retrospect, like I saw things happening or getting ready to happen. I had a hunch about certain things, or just certain feelings of Like, I see this happening and I don't agree with it necessarily, and I didn't speak on it. And so 3 things happened this week where I didn't speak on the situation, and it ended up kind of exploding and becoming a bigger situation that I had to participate in cleaning these situations up. And I was angry, not at the people and the things that happened, but at myself for not standing up or speaking out against certain things that I knew were going to happen if I hadn't made different choices.
So, what are you learning? Again,
I
it's
don't
going to
know.
go back to what are you learning?
First
of all,
well, that's the tricky
using
part.
your intuition. So pay attention. Trust your intuition. Trust your intuition.
Yes.
Right. And what else?
Trust my intuition, and then also picking my battles, because before I said what I was, before I would speak on things, I kind of assess, okay, is this a huge deal? It's not, and I think my logic override my intuition.
And how many times has that happened in your life?
Oh, Wanda, I don't know, girl.
A lot. Right? It's the same energy. It's a pattern.
Okay.
It can go back to childhood, and it can go back to past lives.
Okay, we're just gonna stick on childhood, because going back past lives is a long road, girl. That's a whole nother show. So in childhood, oh my God, I just had
woke you up, right?
you know why? Because when I spoke the truth, I got a whooping.
Yep.
It just hit me. I saw something happen, and I got ready to say it to my grandmother, and they knew it was true, and I got a whooping. So for me, speaking the truth will get me in trouble. Girl, this is crazy. And this is why it's hard for me to speak the truth.
Right, because you think it's not safe. You're going to get in trouble. But now what you're learning is to speak the truth. That doesn't mean I'm going to get in trouble. And you're not that little girl anymore.
I am not. No. Yeah, but she's still in there. You see?
But that can change.
Yeah.
You can change your thoughts. A lot of it is subconscious. A lot of things
totally
are held in your subconscious.
Because I just realized, like, just when I was saying it to you, it flashed in my head. My grandmother giving me a whooping when I saw something and spoke on it in front of the family, and I wasn't supposed to say anything. That was deep.
And so, why do you think you chose that?
Chose what?
You chose your family. I'm gonna say supposing you
because
chose your family.
the dynamic happened within my family. This happens a lot within my family, whether it's my biological family or my soul family, where I know what I'm seeing. I'm feeling it on many levels, with my eyes, with my spirit. You know what I mean? Like my intuition, and I'm like, yes, I'm calling a thing, and then someone's gaslighting me and saying that thing ain't that thing. You're tripping. Like, don't say nothing. And then I go back to like time traveling when my grandmother was like, I told you not to say, you know what I'm saying? And you do all of that.
So perhaps the reason you chose that family is so that you can learn. See, you have the contrast to what? Speak up for yourself, no matter what.
And it's so crazy that you said that, because my throat was hurting. Like the next morning, I know, my throat hurts. I find, it's itchy. Like, do you have physical reactions to not, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, because this is the throat. It's the throat chakra, right? This chakra is about communication. It's about speaking.
So I was holding it in and got a sore throat.
Yeah.
So is that part of your?
Yes, I look at that as well. I use a numerical mapping process to find out where the energy is located in the body, but a lot of times there is some type of physical implication and emotional implication or outcome from a certain issue that you have, right? So, for example, when you're angry a lot, you have problems with your liver. If you don't want to see what's in front of you, you have problems with your what?
Your
eyes.
Keep going. If you want to hear anything, you have problems with your ears.
That could be true too.
Is that see no evil,
That
speak
could
no
be
evil,
true.
hear no
That's
evil?
right. Your stomach, you're not able to digest what's in front of you.
Ooh. Keep going. What else?
Your kidney, you're not having fun. They're not having, there's lack of joy in your life.
Okay, what else? I'm
You
listening.
want me to tell you? Okay, so if something is happening with your back, especially like in the back, the bottom.
I'm sorry. Keep going. Keep going. I want to read comments because I know people have questions. So please, I encourage y'all to ask questions.
That means that you're having some type of financial problem and there's a lack of support.
Okay, say that again.
Lack of finances or lack of support. Usually, the shoulders, emotional burdens. In the middle of the back, somebody stabbing you in your back. Yeah, our body is our subconscious mind, and it gives us clues to what's happening with our lives. But again, there's so much that we have to learn or remember, because we know these things, but we have to remember them, because when we were born, that memory was lost. Now, some people come in with a little bit of memory, right? Because you've heard of kids who talk about their past lives, like, oh, a lot of that appears on YouTube.
Yeah. My children have done that. Jessica would tell me all the time. My eldest daughter, she was here before, and she would tell me whole stories.
Yeah. See, that's from a remembrance, and so some of that is still with certain people, and they come in with that.
Now, how does that work with your own life? Like, I know it's easy to.
Oh, I can tell you stories.
Tell me a story.
Okay, so as we look at your challenges or your gifts, right? It's not what it looks like. You know, it looks like all this stuff is happening. I can recall several years ago was coming from work, my office, and I went to Potrero Hill, the Whole Foods in Potrero Hill, and usually I go there, to get some food to eat at the little buffet. And I had a gift card that somebody gave me, and I went to the cashier. I got my food, and I took the card to the cashier, and actually paid for the food. I actually had to pay a little bit more because the gift card wasn't covering the
Whole
food.
Foods.
Whole paycheck.
Whole paycheck.
And I went downstairs to eat, and I was walking to the parking lot, and I was approached by this young man who said, "Ma'am, I need to talk to you for a moment." And so I stopped in my tracks, and he came to me. He flashed his badge. I said, "Uh-oh, what's going on here?" He said, "Ma'am, you did not pay for that food. Did you pay for that food?" I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "Well, can I see your receipt?" You know what? I threw that receipt away. I don't think about keeping a receipt.
I stuffed it in my purse. What you talking about?
I don't know what I did with it, right? And so I said, "Well, I paid for the food. I had a gift card." He said, "Well, I want you to follow me back in the store." And he said, "I want you to go all the way back to the back of the store, and you better not say anything, right? And don't make a scene." So here I am dressed in a suit.
Girl, I would have been pulling stuff off the shelf.
Wait a minute. So I go upstairs. He tells me to go upstairs, and I was like in this little small room. It looked like an interrogation room.
They took you.
They took me upstairs.
Wow.
And he said, I kept telling him, "You could go down to the cashier and ask her." He wouldn't do it. So I said, I took out my card and I said, "Look, I paid with this gift card." He called in the manager, and the manager came in and looked at the gift card and said, "I've never seen that gift card before in my life. We've never used that gift card." And so the guy was like, "Well, what we do with people like you is you're prohibited from coming into the store. So you can't come into the store anymore." Right? And I looked at him, and then it dawned on me. I said, "Oh, I got it. I created it all. This is a case of being falsely accused." And I thought about how many times I've been falsely accused. All of my life,
I've been
I've
there.
been falsely accused of so many things, like not taking a final in college, stealing, just a number of things, getting in trouble when I was in junior high school because I said something to a teacher that she thought I cursed at her and I didn't, right? And then I said, okay, I got it. So I have to do something different with this energy. So when I was being released to go, I looked at the young man and I looked and smiled and I said, oh my God, I created it on Facebook and telling my story, and I made it. Went to church the next day and told my story. And there was a young man in the back of the church, and he said, oh, Wanda, that same thing happened to me at that same Whole Foods. But they came and got me. I was at the bus stop. And I said, well, the good thing about it is I finally called another manager who happened to live in Berkeley. And I said, oh, great. He lives in Berkeley. He's open.
Child, please.
Wait a minute. And so I told him my story. He said, I was not on duty that day. There was somebody that was filling in for me. And he said, you know what? We keep video. So I'm going to watch the video and I'll get back to you.
Oh, wow.
So he watched the video. He called me and said, you are absolutely right. I am so